Alright, so this was the movie I was watching 20 or so minutes in when I decided let's record a quick little review on Cannibal Holocaust. And now I know why I said Mountain of the Cannibal God when I was talking about this film, Slave of the Cannibal God, because it's the same fucking movie. Like with all the Italian horror films and Italian movies, exploitation films back then, they had a bajillion names. So this is Mountain of the Cannibal God, aka Slave of the Cannibal God, Prisoner of the Cannibal God, it goes on, by the great Sergio Martino. Now, I haven't seen all of Martino's movies, but I've seen a good handful, especially his giallo films, which is what I think his specialty always has been. He's one of the great giallo filmmakers. But this is another one of those Italian cannibalistic tribes in the jungles of the Amazon, or Papua New Guinea in this case, and a bunch of dumbasses decide to go into that jungle knowing there's some cannibalistic tribes in there, and they don't come out. And we have two big names here. We have Ursula Andress, the original Bond girl from Dr. No, and a very young Stacy Keach. I didn't even fully know it was him. I had to back out just to see it on Tubi where it says his name. It said that it's him. He's so young in this. The score by Guido and Maurizio De Angelis, I'm so surprised I didn't fuck that up, is really good. And there's also really good sound design in this, like this cool swooshing sound. It's the only way I could describe it during some of the more intense scenes later on, but they've done much better scores. I mean, just for Martino alone, they did Torso, and Torso is probably my favorite Martino score. They also scored A Blade in the Dark by Lamberto Bava, which is another top giallo of mine. So the score is decent, but it's nothing great, which is kind of how this whole movie is. It's decent, it's nothing great. It has the beautiful cinematography of your typical Martino movie, especially being in wherever they filmed this to stand in for Papua New Guinea. All the scenery, the jungle, all that looks really good. And something notable about this movie compared to all the other cannibal movies and Italian horror and giallo films back then, this movie was filmed with them speaking English. They didn't dub the English in. So if that's something, the dubbing, that's usually distracting for you, like watching Italian films, you don't have that here. But Susan is Ursula Andress' character. She goes into the jungles of Papua New Guinea with her brother Arthur and Stacy Keach, who's an anthropologist. They go looking for Susan's husband, who went missing a while back and she thinks might still be alive, and she's willing to risk it all to get into that jungle and save him. But in typical Martino fashion, he even throws some giallo aspects into this cannibal film, where everyone has a fucking evil, corrupt, ulterior motive, that they're not even really looking for her husband. They're looking for uranium deposits or something random like that. The pacing isn't too great in this. There's long stretches of nothing. There's the typical animal deaths, the real animal killings that you get in here. One that's kind of infamous, the monkey getting killed by the snake. It doesn't bother me, any of this, but I could see that one really getting to some people. But this is more of a adventure through the jungle film that culminates in the last act with a bunch of cannibals, eating people and doing despicable shit. This is a much more grounded movie when it comes to the Italian cannibal films than all the other ones. But don't get me wrong, there is disturbing stuff in here, and there is some great gore effects. And then it culminates with Susan Andres' character being worshipped as a cannibal god, and she eats the flesh of her brother. And then they start stripping Susan naked, and she's tied to a post, and like I said, they're worshipping her like she's their goddess now. And these two female tribe members are like lathering her in this orange shit. I mean, that's why they think she's a goddess. I mean, she was still looking fine. I think she was in her early 40s when she did this movie. And just like every Martino film I've ever seen, he finds a way to sexualize everything. You got me watching these New Guinea tribe members naked, lathering Ursula Andress naked. Now you got me thinking weirdly about tribe members from New Guinea. That's not fair. But she does end up escaping in the end with another guy who joined the expedition like halfway through, so he didn't put in as much effort. But all in all, not one of Martino's bests. I wouldn't watch this again for another decade plus. Like I said, it's more grounded than Cannibal Holocaust or Lenzi's Cannibal Ferox. I mean, Diodato kind of perfected this whole subgenre of Italian movies with Cannibal Holocaust in 1980, but he did a cannibal film, Jungle Holocaust, 2 years before this, I think, in 76 or 77. And I'm not a big fan of this subgenre. I'm not a big cannibal fan. Like this specific type of cannibal films, the Italian ones in the 70s and 80s, when they go to some fucking jungle and they all get eaten to death. It's not my thing. Cannibal Holocaust just happens to do it so well. And as I said in that little review, the score is so good for that movie. It shouldn't be that good for a film like that, but it is. Outside of Cannibal Ferox by Lenzi and this movie, that's really all you need to see with this whole subgenre. And of course, Green Inferno by Eli Roth from, 2012? Which is basically his homage and love letter to this whole subgenre, but specifically Diodato and Cannibal Holocaust. Especially because the name Green Inferno is the name of the documentary that the film crew were filming in Cannibal Holocaust. And Roth and Diodato became really good friends before Diodato passed away, so he looked up to him a great amount. But yeah, I wouldn't throw this on probably ever again. There are so many better Martino films to watch and spend your time watching than this one. You have The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, Your Vice is the Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, which I always say is one of the greatest titles for a movie. Torso, Case of the Scorpion's Tail, it goes on and on. He's got a lot of films, but they're all better than this one. Mountain of the Cannibal God, aka Slave of the Cannibal God from 1978.